The fashionable female silhouettes of the 1950s are some of the most iconic American fashion style moments. At the peak of the department store, brands emerged in the post-war era to serve the American nuclear family, an idea that seemed to dominate consumer culture. Two of the dominant styles that emerged in the 1950s for women's fashion were one of the tailored slim Chanel-inspired suit, and the second of the New Look-inspired silhouette with a full skirt and nipped-in waist. Our object of study falls in the latter category. Our item of study for this project was the mid-century skirt from the brand Jonathan Logan. It is an iteration of the 1950s circle skirt in a flourishing rose pattern. This is a classic representation of a popular post-war style, and the elaborate pattern illustrates pattern trends of the time in its botanical red rose theme. The skirt is made of a felt material, most likely intended to be a lighter cream or white color when it was originally produced. This type of unwoven fabric was manufactured rather than hand-sewn, showing how the item was mass-produced for the department store-based brand. Other features of the skirts include pockets sewn into one side of the skirt, gold-painted accents, and a ribbon-like woven material at the waist. The waist itself is an estimated mere 26 inches, a measurement of which probably seems to only been found on the likes of Vera Ellen, but this waist-cinching effect is no surprise for a garment from this era. By far the most prominent part of the skirt is the printed pattern. The rose pattern is printed onto the fabric and textured lightly on the felt. The pattern descends from the waist down, growing in size and changing slowly as it moves down the body. A botanical pattern such as this has known historical significance. The prominence of floral patterns such as this have existed in flux over time. What is clear is that the skirt would have been a fashionable item for the time. We of course can't know for sure if this item was ever worn and for what purposes, but we can identify colors of the print and that they are well preserved, the waist when measured, and the garment could have been worn without a petticoat. We can only guess what the story was behind the skirt, but first let's dive into a little bit about the brand and department store of the time.
Jonathan Logan was founded in 1944 by David Schwartz. It started off as a very small company with only 10 employees. Doris Varnum was the designer of the brand from 1944 to the late 1950s. In the 1950s, Jean Carr took over after Doris Varnum retired. Jonathan Logan is known for being one of the most popular manufacturers who made dresses for young women. He specifically targeted young women who wanted the not-so-trendy dresses, but more so classy. It became one of the most successful ready-to-wear companies in the U.S. by 1966. As the brand slowly grew, Jonathan Logan turned into a collection of 14 different brands. The brands consisted of Youth Guild, Butter Kit, and many more. Each brand had a different target consumer group. David Schwartz's son, the founder of Jonathan Logan, named Richard, became the head of the company in the late 1960s. And in 1985, the Schwartz family sold the company.
One of the things that we thought was really important to examine in this project was the target consumer of Jonathan Logan and who was really wearing this brand in its peak era. So the first thing we wanted to talk about was the price range. As you see listed on the screen, dresses range from approximately $19 to $25. Skirts ranged from approximately $14 to $18, and tops from $5 to $9. So in translation to today's prices, that would be dresses being around $160 to $200, skirts being from $120 to $150, and tops being from $30 to $80. So as we can see, these garments were really relatively medium priced, not really cheap yet. Very upper class women probably would not wear it. The middle upper class young woman was definitely the target market with this pricing. Another thing that's really important to consider was the style and silhouette of the Jonathan Logan products. The 1950s were a time when fashion exploded into new directions, new colors, and new silhouettes. Swing skirts were one of the very popular silhouettes that really rose during this time. The Jonathan Logan collections during the 50s and early 60s were incredibly driven by these styles, especially because that is what the younger women were wanting to wear. Additionally, the Jonathan Logan brand was crucial to the young ladies at this time because of their love for bright colors and newfound patterns that Jonathan Logan really displayed well. So from all the information that we gathered, we were able to create the profile of an ideal consumer of the Jonathan Logan brand. This was a middle upper class suburban woman, usually from around the ages 18 to 25, so making her definitely on the younger side. Some of the affinities that go along with her is that she follows fashion trends, but classy and dressy is the most important part of her style. She pays attention to the media and advertising and is very influenced by the styles of her friends and peers. As for psychographics, we just wanted to display that clothes were really important to her, and she definitely likes to look nice, and just really is looking for a reliable brand that is accessible yet stylish. So that's what made Jonathan Logan the best brand for her.
Based on this research and our garment, we conclude that the Jonathan Logan skirt that we studied for this project is a great representation of 50s fashion, and the Jonathan Logan brand stands as a representation of what fashion and consumer culture represented in the 1950s. Thanks for watching!
Down in your heart. I just want